I pull into the curved shell driveway of my beach house, tires crunching over the familiar surface, and immediately sense something is wrong. 4 unfamiliar cars crowd the space where normally there's just room for my sensible Subaru. My stomach tightens as I park awkwardly behind them. This is supposed to be my quiet Friday afternoon retreat. I've been looking forward to it all week, while processing mortgage applications at Coastal Florida Bank. The thought of my porch swing, paperback novel, and the sound of distant waves has kept me sane. I step out into the salty air and hear voices, too many voices coming from my backyard. The gate stands open, and through it I glimpse what appears to be a wedding arch. My pace quickens as I round the corner of the house. The sight that greets me freezes me in place. My carefully tended lawn has been transformed into what can only be described as a wedding venue. White folding chairs form neat rows on either side of a central aisle. A massive tent dominates the far corner, and strangers bustle about placing floral arrangements and hanging strings of lights from my porch railings. And there, in the center of it all, stands my sister Serena, clipboard in hand, directing a man with a ladder toward my grandmother's oak tree. The twinkle lights need to curve through those branches, she instructs, her voice carrying that special tone of authority she's perfected since childhood. Thomas and I want that magical feeling when we have our first dance. I remain rooted in place, watching unnoticed as Serena shifts her attention to a woman arranging white roses. Those centerpieces need to be higher, we want drama. And check if the caterer called back about the seafood option. My mind spins. Caterer? First dance? Thomas is Serena's boyfriend of 8 months, but I hadn't heard anything about an engagement, let alone a wedding at my house. Finally, my paralysis breaks. I step forward, the garden stones cool beneath my feet. Serena's eyes meet mine, and for just a second, I catch a flicker of something guilt, concern, before her face blossoms into a brilliant smile. Rain, perfect timing, she calls, waving me over as if I'm just another wedding vendor. We need your input on the seating chart. I struggle to find my voice. What's going on here? Serena's smile doesn't falter. Oh, didn't Mom tell you? We're finalizing the wedding details. The ceremony's next Saturday. You're just in time to help with the place settings. My gaze sweeps over my transformed property, my sacred weekend retreat that I worked double shifts for 5 years to afford, the down payment representing countless declined dinner invitations and budget lunches. You're having your wedding? Here? At my house? The words come out strained. A woman in a sleek blazer approaches, hand extended. You must be the generous sister I've heard so much about. I'm Vanessa, the wedding planner. The venue is absolutely perfect for what Serena and Thomas envisioned. I shake her hand automatically while processing her words. Generous sister? Venue? My eyes land on a table covered with elegant cream-colored envelopes. I pick one up, sliding out the embossed invitation inside. The words blur before refocusing. Joyfully invite you to celebrate their marriage. At the Bennett Beach House. 19 Pelican Way, Sandpiper Beach, Florida. The memory surfaces unbidden. Standing in this very yard 5 years ago, key in hand, trembling with pride as the realtor congratulated me on my purchase. The months of saving, the overtime hours, the promotion I earned through sheer determination, all culminating in this moment of achievement, my very own piece of paradise. My mother's voice had cut through my joy. Such a waste for just one person, don't you think? The family could have pooled resources for something we could all use. And Serena. Champagne already in hand. This is perfect for family gatherings. I can't wait to bring my friends down for beach weekends. I'd smiled tightly, already feeling my ownership slipping away, despite my name alone on the deed. Since then, it's been a steady erosion. Parents bringing dinner guests without warning. Serena borrowing the place for weekend getaways. The extra key I'd given Mom for emergencies somehow multiplying. Family members coming and going as they pleased. The messes I'd clean up, the belongings rearranged, the casual disregard for my space. My gentle reminders met with the same response. We're family, no need for formalities. Vanessa's voice pulls me back. Serena mentioned you were thrilled to host. We've been working on the details for months. Months. They've been planning this for months without asking me. Something shifts inside me. A lifetime of being the responsible one, the reasonable one, the one who makes sacrifices for family harmony, and this is how they repay me. For a moment, I imagine myself exploding, tearing down decorations, demanding everyone leave. Instead, I feel an eerie calm descend. "Excuse me," I say quietly, turning toward my car. "Rain?" Serena calls after me. "Where are you going? We need your help with the seating chart." I keep walking, keys clutched tightly in my hand. "Rain," her voice rises. "Don't be difficult. We have family obligations." The word echoes as I slide into my driver's seat. Obligations. Always my obligations to them, never theirs to me. As I pull away, I catch Serena's frustrated expression in my rearview mirror. For the first time in years, I don't feel the familiar weight of guilt. Instead, I feel something new taking its place. Determination. I drive aimlessly for nearly an hour before returning to my apartment, fingers still white-knuckled around the steering wheel. The unexpected invasion of my beach sanctuary plays on repeat in my mind like a horror film I can't shut off. Inside my apartment, I drop my purse on the kitchen counter and collapse onto the sofa. My phone buzzes incessantly, 3 missed calls from Serena, 2 from Mom, and a text from Dad that simply reads, "Call your mother." Instead, I open my laptop and type Serena Bennett wedding into the search bar. My stomach lurches as results flood the screen. Serena's Pinterest board appears first. Beach house dream wedding created 8 months ago. 8 months of planning, without a single conversation with me. I click through to her Instagram. A post from 3 weeks ago shows her and Thomas toasting champagne on my porch. The caption reads, "Final venue walkthrough at my amazing sister's beach house. Can't wait for our 150 guests to experience this paradise. 3-day celebration. Generous sister. Blessed bride." Comments from relatives pile beneath. "So wonderful of Rain to donate her beautiful home. So, that's what family is for. What a selfless sister you have." My temples throb. Donate? I never donated anything. A notification pops up, a private message from Thomas, Serena's fiancé. "Rain, I'm sorry about all this. I told Serena we should ask you properly. This wasn't my idea." I stare at the message, unsure how to respond. My phone buzzes again. "Mom? Hello?" I answer, my voice tight. "There you are. What on earth were you thinking driving off like that?" Serena is beside herself. "The wedding planner needs your input on several things, and—" "Mom," I interrupt. "Did you know about this? That Serena was planning her entire wedding at my house without asking me?" A pause. "Well, of course I knew. We all did. It's not like you use that place much anyway." I scroll through old text messages between my parents while she speaks. One from Mom to Dad jumps out. "Rain won't mind about the wedding. She never uses the house anyway. Serena needs this." Dad's response, "Should we at least mention it to Rain?" "Mom, better not. She might overthink it. You know how she gets. Serena says it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission." The timestamp shows this exchange happened 4 months ago. "Are you even listening?" Mom's voice cuts through my thoughts. "I have to go," I say, and hang up. For the next hour, I dig deeper. A family group chat I was never added to contains dozens of messages coordinating wedding details at Rain's place. Cousins discussing carpooling. Aunts debating whether to bring extra chairs. Everyone assuming I've happily offered my home. I pull my property deed from my filing cabinet, smoothing the paper with trembling hands. Rain Elizabeth Bennett, the sole name listed as owner. The mortgage statements show payments from my account alone. Every utility bill, insurance payment, and maintenance cost has come from my savings. The realization strikes with startling clarity. This isn't about a house anymore. This is about respect. I search Trespassing Laws Florida and unauthorized use of private property. I calculate utility costs for 150 guests over 3 days, potential property damage, liability issues if someone is injured. The numbers climb alarmingly. My phone rings. Marlene, my best friend since college. "Your sister's wedding?" she says when I answer. "I just got an invitation to your beach house. Since when are you hosting a wedding?" I explain the situation, my voice growing stronger with each detail. "Rain," Marlene says firmly, "you're not crazy for being upset. This is outrageous. What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet," I reply, "but I'm done being a doormat." The next day at work, my coworker James notices my distraction. "Family drama." I explain briefly during our lunch break. He nods knowingly. "Let me guess they've crossed a boundary and expect you to just accept it?" I look up, surprised. "How did you know?" "Been there." My brother used to borrow my car without asking. Kept doing it until I changed the locks on my house where I kept the keys. He leans forward. Stand firm, Rain. Family can be the worst boundary violators because they think they're entitled to forgiveness. That afternoon, I receive a text from my neighbor at the beach house. Lots of people coming and going from your place lately. Everything okay? The pieces coalesce into a plan. I leave work early and drive to the beach house. I watch from across the street as Serena directs florists carrying arrangements inside. My house, my sanctuary. At the hardware store, I purchase new locks and security cameras. The locksmith arrives an hour after Serena leaves. By sunset, my house is secure again. Back at my apartment, I compose a careful email. To family. Subject: Beach house access. Please be advised that effective immediately, anyone wishing to visit my property at 219 Pelican Way must contact me directly for permission and access arrangements. The locks have been changed for security purposes. Sincerely, Rain Bennett. I hit send, then mute my phone as it immediately begins to ring. The responses flood in minutes later. Mom, don't be ridiculous, we're family. Where's the spare key? Dad, call your mother, she's upset. Serena's message comes through as a voice call that I let go to voicemail. Her voice trembles with rage when I play it back. How could you be so selfish right before my wedding? You're ruining everything. I've been planning this for months. I send one response. This is my property purchased with my money. No one uses it without my permission. Then I silence all notifications and open my laptop. A local tourism article catches my eye. Sandpiper Beach Tour Company seeking rental properties for exclusive visitors. I click through to their website, looking for unique properties to showcase to our high-end clientele. My fingers hover over the Contact Us form. For the first time in days, I feel a sense of calm settling over me. I download their rental agreement, reading each clause carefully, envisioning the perfect solution taking shape. 3 hours later, I've created a comprehensive plan with contingencies for every possible reaction from my family. I've documented the current condition of my house, calculated fair market rental rates, and prepared a contract that protects my interests. When I finally sign the rental agreement with Sandpiper Beach Tour Company, I recognize the moment for what it is, the point of no return, and I don't regret it for a second. 2 days later, my phone buzzes for the 17th time this morning. I know because I've been counting. Each vibration sends a small tremor through the wooden desk at Coastal Florida Bank, where I've been trying to focus on a mortgage application for nearly an hour. The screen lights up with Serena's name again, accompanied by a text preview that begins, "You're being completely ridiculous." I silence the phone and flip it face down. 3 more messages arrive in quick succession, their muted vibrations like angry wasps trapped against the desktop. Trouble at home? James asks from the cubicle next to mine. His eyes meet mine over the partition, concern evident in the slight furrow of his brow. My family discovered boundaries exist, I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. They're not taking it well. The elevator chimes, drawing my attention to the bank's main floor. My stomach drops. Mother strides across the marble tiles, her purposeful gait and rigid shoulders broadcasting her mission to anyone watching. She's wearing her church committee outfit, blue linen pantsuit, pearls, formidable pumps. She wouldn't, I whisper, but of course she would. This is exactly what she would do. Is that your mom? James whispers, sinking lower in his chair. I stand before she reaches my desk, intercepting her near the water cooler. Mother, this is my workplace. And apparently the only place I can reach you, she says, voice pitched to carry just far enough that nearby colleagues pause their typing. Since you've decided to ignore everyone's calls and change the locks without warning. The old Rain would have immediately guided her to the break room, desperate to minimize the scene. Instead, I feel a strange calm settle over me, like stepping into cool water. We can talk after work, I say. I'll meet you at Bayside Cafe at 5:30. Your sister is devastated. The venue was perfect. Do you understand what you've done? 5:30, I repeat, my voice lower but firmer. Or not at all. She blinks twice, the gesture almost comical in its surprise. Without another word, she turns and leaves, her heels striking the floor with diminished authority. James whistles low when I return to my desk. That was impressive. I'm as surprised as he is. That evening, I pull into the parking lot of Coral Gables restaurant, where my family has arranged what can only be described as an intervention. Through the window, I see them already seated at our usual corner table. Mother, father, Serena, and to my surprise, Aunt Linda, whose disapproval has terrified me since childhood. "You don't have to go in," Marlene says from the passenger seat. My friend insisted on coming when I mentioned the dinner, calling herself my boundary bodyguard. "Actually," I say, finding that strange calm again, "I do." Inside, Serena doesn't wait for me to sit before launching her attack. "My dream wedding is ruined," she announces, eyes already glistening with practiced tears. "The alternative venue is half the size and nowhere near the beach. Thomas's family is questioning everything now." Father clears his throat. "Pumpkin, we understand you were, and surprised by the arrangements, but surely we can work something out. After everything we've done for you," Mother adds, her voice trembling with restrained emotion. "I changed my entire career to give you girls opportunities. I drove you to piano lessons for 8 years. Piano lessons I begged to quit after 3 months," I say quietly. Aunt Linda leans forward. "Rain, in our family, we support each other. Your grandfather would be ashamed to see this selfishness." The table falls silent at the mention of Grandpa Joe, the ultimate family authority even years after his death. This is their nuclear option. I take a slow breath, then look directly at my sister. "Name one time you asked permission before using my house." Serena blinks. "What?" "One time. Just one example when you called ahead, asked if I minded, and respected my answer." Her mouth opens, then closes. "Name one weekend when you left the house exactly as you found it." I continue, turning to my parents. "One occasion, when you didn't bring extra people I'd never met. One visit when you actually treated it as my property rather than the family vacation home." The silence stretches. "You can't," I say, my voice still quiet but carrying a new weight, "because it never happened." Mother recovers first. "This vindictive behavior is—" "Actually," Marlene interjects, setting her phone on the table, "I have something relevant." She taps the screen, pulling up a calendar. Rain made this request 7 months ago. It shows every time she asked her family to please call before coming to her house. 26 requests in 3 years, each one documented with the date and response. James helped me compile this record last week, combing through text messages and emails I'd nearly forgotten. The evidence of my ignored boundaries, laid out chronologically, had been shocking even to me. Father shifts uncomfortably in his seat. No one's denying there might have been some miscommunications. "It's done anyway," I say, cutting through the tension. "The house is rented to Sandpiper Tours for the next 3 weekends, including Serena's wedding date. The contract is signed. The deposit is paid." Serena's tears vanish instantly. "You what?" I slide a folder across the table. "The rental agreement, fully legal and binding." That night, I finalize the last details. The tour company agreement sits signed on my coffee table. My lawyer's letter confirming my exclusive property rights is ready to be sent if needed. The security cameras I installed yesterday are already transmitting footage to my phone. Thomas's text arrives as I'm preparing for bed. "I respect what you're doing, even though I can't say it publicly yet. This wasn't right from the beginning." For a moment, doubt creeps in. Am I being too harsh? The remembered image of strangers rifling through my bedroom drawers during last year's small family gathering banishes the thought. This isn't about punishing them. This is about respecting myself. I think about the years of coming home to moved furniture, borrowed items never returned, and casual disregard. The night I arrived to find 16 strangers having a party, my personal photos handled by people who didn't know my name. The constant assumption that what's mine is everyone's exclusively, but what's theirs remains exclusively theirs. The weight I've carried for years begins to lift. For the first time since buying the beach house, I feel like its true owner. Tomorrow might bring more confrontations, more tears and accusations, but tonight I am certain, this is what freedom feels like. For the first time since discovering the wedding plans, I sleep soundly that night, no longer tangled in bedsheets damp with anxiety, sweat. The realization comes in the morning sunshine. Their reactions only confirm I'm making the right decision. This house was always mine, never theirs. The day before the wedding, even though I said no at that dinner, I watched through binoculars from my parked car across the street as my family transforms my beach house into Wedding Central. The scene unfolds exactly as I anticipated. Serena stands in the center of my backyard, clipboard in hand, directing traffic like a seasoned film director. The arch needs to be centered perfectly with the ocean view. She calls to two men struggling with a white wooden structure. And those chairs should form a gentle curve, not straight rows. This isn't a high school graduation. Enhem. My mother kneels by the garden beds, arranging white roses and baby's breath in stone planters. She seems to be talking to the flowers as she works, probably telling them stories about her own wedding 35 years ago. Dad follows behind a caterer, nodding at everything the man says while occasionally checking his watch. I check mine too. 3, 2, 1. Right on schedule, a white van with coastal Florida tours, emblazoned on the side, pulls into my driveway. 2 more vehicles follow, parking behind it. 7 uniformed employees exit the vehicles, clipboards and equipment in hand. Through my binoculars, I can see the exact moment confusion ripples across my family's faces. The tour manager, a tall woman with silver hair pulled into a professional bun, approaches Serena with an outstretched hand. Even from this distance, I can read the body language. Serena's spine stiffens. Her head tilts in that particular way it does when something isn't going according to her plan. I start my car but don't drive closer. Not yet. My phone buzzes with a text from the tour manager. We've made contact. Contract presented as instructed. I imagine the scene. The manager showing Serena the legally binding document with my signature dated 3 weeks ago. The reservation for a corporate retreat starting tomorrow morning, with setup scheduled for this afternoon. Exclusive use of the property for the entire weekend. My phone erupts with calls. Mom, Dad. Mom again. Serena. I let them all go to voicemail. This moment has been carefully choreographed, and I won't disrupt it by engaging too early. Through my binoculars, I watch as 3 cars pull into the already crowded driveway. Early wedding guests, no doubt. Dad rushes to intercept them, hands waving in what appears to be an explanation. One woman puts her hands to her face in shock. When Serena finally calls for the 6th time, I answer. What did you do? Her voice crackles with barely contained fury. Hello to you too. I reply, my voice remarkably steady. There are people here saying they have a contract. For a tour group. Tomorrow. At your house. My wedding is tomorrow. I correct her gently. My house, not your wedding venue. This is your house, she shrieks. You can tell these people to leave. You never asked me, Serena. The words flow easily, rehearsed in my mind for days. I bought this house with my money. I maintain it with my money, and I rented it out as I wished. You knew about the wedding. Everyone knew. Everyone assumed. No one asked. I keep my tone even. This is what happens when you assume rather than ask for permission. You have to fix this. Panic edges into her voice. Call them off. The house is not available. Not tomorrow. Not for the weekend. I end the call and watch the chaos unfold. Mom frantically working her phone, probably calling every venue in a 50-mile radius. Dad shepherding confused guests back to their cars. Serena in animated conversation with the wedding planner, her arms gesturing wildly. An hour later, my phone pings with notifications. Social media updates from relatives are shifting from excitement about the beautiful beach wedding to confusion about venue complications. A cousin posts, anyone know what happened to the generous sister's offer? 20 minutes later, Thomas calls. His voice sounds different, measured, respectful. Rain, I want you to know I always felt uncomfortable about using your house without formally asking. Thank you for saying that, Thomas. My parents have agreed to host in their backyard. It won't be the beach, but with some quick rearranging, we can make it work. He pauses. I understand why you did this. After we hang up, I receive the first unexpected text from my aunt, Gloria. Always thought it strange they'd use your house without asking. Standing your ground takes courage. The tour company staff continues setting up their equipment. Beach chairs in neat rows facing the water. Informational placards about local marine life. A registration table on the front porch. I finally drive away, leaving my property being used exactly as I intended, with permission, with respect, with boundaries intact. For the first time in years, I feel something unfamiliar unfurling in my chest. It feels remarkably like freedom. 3 days later, the doorbell rings just as I'm organizing the last of my documentation. Through the peephole, I see my parents standing shoulder to shoulder, their postures rigid with indignation. I take a deep breath, tuck the final photograph into its folder, and open the door. Rain, Elizabeth Bennet, my mother says, her voice wavering between fury and tears. How could you humiliate your sister this way? Her wedding is in shambles. My father stands slightly behind her, his disappointment radiating like heat. After everything we've sacrificed for you, this is how you repay us? By destroying Serena's special day? I step back, gesturing toward my living room. Would you like to come in? Their momentary hesitation reveals their surprise at my calm. They expected tears or defensive anger, my usual response pattern. Instead, I lead them to the couch where 3 water glasses wait on coasters. I've anticipated this visit for days. You need to make this right, my mother continues, her voice gaining strength as she settles onto my couch. A public apology at minimum. And you'll need to compensate for the venue change. Thomas's parents' backyard was barely adequate. My father leans forward, his tone softening into the reasonable voice he uses when closing business deals. Sweetheart, everyone makes mistakes, but this is family. If you don't make amends, I'm afraid you'll find yourself cut off from. I've prepared something I'd like you to see, I interrupt, sliding a thick blue folder across the coffee table. My mother glances at it without touching it. What's this supposed to be? Documentation, I answer, opening it myself. 5 years of boundary violations at my beach house. I've organized it chronologically. F now. Their expressions shift from righteous anger to wary confusion as I begin laying out photographs. Wine stains on my grandmother's quilt after an unauthorized small gathering that left 17 empty bottles. Cigarette burns on the deck furniture from my cousin's friends. Muddy footprints across my white bedroom carpet from someone's dog. I've been silent for too long, I say, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. Every time I asked for respect, you dismissed me. Every boundary I set, you crossed. Every boundary I set. My father shifts uncomfortably. That's just normal wear and tear. This isn't normal, I counter, pulling out a stack of receipts. These are the repair costs. Notice the signatures? All mine. I've never asked for a dime from any of you. My mother's face flushes. We're family. We shouldn't need formal invitations or... Family respects each other, I say, cutting her off with a gentleness that surprises even me. The house is mine. My name is on the deed. My money paid for it. I slide forward the property documentation, the mortgage statement, the insurance policy, all bearing only my name. You had no right to, my father begins. I had every right, I reply, tapping my finger on the deed, just as I had every right to rent it to the tour company. Their eyes widen as I pull out my phone and scroll to the security camera footage from 3 months ago. My mother leading 6 strangers through my bedroom, opening drawers, showing off our family beach house. This is private property, not a family timeshare, I say. And this, I place Serena's wedding invitation on top of the pile, was planned without my knowledge or consent. My mother's hands tremble slightly as she picks up the invitation. For the first time, I see uncertainty in her eyes. If you want any relationship with me going forward, these are my terms. I pull out a single sheet of paper. No one visits without explicit permission. I require advance notice and confirmation. All copies of my keys must be returned immediately. My father's face darkens. You can't dictate. I can and I am, I say, meeting his gaze. These aren't requests, they're requirements. The silence stretches between us. My mother stares at the evidence spread across the table, the physical manifestation of years of disregard. I never saw it from your perspective, she finally whispers, something genuine breaking through her defensive shell. My father rubs his face, suddenly looking older. We didn't think. It wasn't our intention to. Intent doesn't erase impact, I say, gathering the documents back into the folder. I love you both, but I won't compromise on this anymore. The power shift is palpable in the room. Their manipulation tactics, the tears, the guilt, the threats of exclusion lie useless between us like spent ammunition. My father reaches into his pocket and places a key on the table. My mother hesitates before adding hers beside it. Serena has one too, my mother admits. I nod. I'll get it from her. She won't take this well, my father warns. That's not my responsibility, I reply. As they prepare to leave, my mother pauses at the door. Will you come to Sunday dinner next week? I meet her eyes steadily. I'll let you know by Thursday if I'm available. Something passes between us, a new understanding. She nods once, accepting this small but significant shift in our dynamics. After they leave, I stand in my quiet apartment, my heart racing not with anxiety but with a strange, unfamiliar lightness. For the first time in years, I feel the weight of their expectations lifting from my shoulders. I pick up the keys they left behind, symbols of a boundary finally respected, and place them in my desk drawer. The battle isn't over. Serena will be harder to convince than my parents, but for now, in this moment, I've reclaimed something essential. My house, my boundaries, my life. The morning sunlight spills across my deck as I settle into my porch swing, coffee mug warming my hands. 6 months have passed since the wedding debacle, and my beach house feels truly mine for the first time. No unexpected visitors, no rearranged furniture, no apologetic texts about borrowing the place for the weekend. I run my fingers along the new cushions I chose last month, soft teal fabric that reminds me of the ocean at midday. The bookshelves I installed now hold my favorite novels instead of Serena's forgotten magazines. Wind chimes tinkle softly from the corner of the porch, a sound that has become synonymous with peace. This is what home should feel like, I whisper to myself, watching a pair of sandpipers dance along the shoreline. My phone buzzes with a text from James at work. Congrats again on the promotion. Bank's lucky to have you in charge of the commercial loan division. The promotion came after I pitched my own restructuring plan, instead of letting the VP take credit for my ideas. Something shifted inside me that day in the conference room when I said, "Actually, I developed this strategy and would like to present it myself." The confidence from standing up to my family spilled into every aspect of my life. Last Saturday, I had dinner with Mom and Dad for the first time in months. The conversation felt stilted at first, but they respected the boundaries I'd established. Dad asked before helping himself to more water. Mom called yesterday to thank me for coming rather than assuming we'd meet again this weekend. Some relatives still don't understand. Aunt Patricia insists I'm holding a grudge, while Uncle Steve maintains family should have unlimited access to each other's homes. I've accepted that not everyone will adapt to the new normal. Thomas, surprisingly, calls occasionally. After marrying Serena at his parents' garden, which turned out beautifully despite the last-minute change, he seems genuinely invested in building a respectful relationship. Your sister is learning, he told me last week. Slowly, but she's trying. Ender. My doorbell chimes at exactly 11 o'clock. Serena stands on my porch, hands clasped nervously in front of her. Thanks for letting me visit, she says, waiting for me to invite her in. We walk to the kitchen where I've prepared a simple lunch. She notices the family photos I've rearranged on the wall still present, but no longer dominating the space. I like what you've done with the place, she offers, settling into a chair I gesture toward. Our conversation meanders through safe topics until she finally says, I never really thought about how we treated your house before. I just assumed. That it was partly yours? I finish. She nods, examining her sandwich. I'm sorry. The words hang between us, fragile but sincere. At 4 o'clock, Tino, she glances at her watch and stands. I should go. Thank you for respecting my time, I tell her, walking her to the door. Her smile is tentative but genuine. This was nice. Maybe we could do it again sometime? I'd like that, I reply, surprised to find I mean it. Later, sitting on my deck with Marlene and 2 new friends from my pottery class, I pour wine into mismatched glasses. We laugh as the sun begins its descent, painting the sky in vibrant oranges and pinks. My phone lights up with a text from Serena. Thanks for having me over today. Looking forward to next time with permission, of course. I smile, setting down my phone to rejoin the conversation. The boundaries I've built haven't shrunk my world as I once feared. They've expanded it, creating space for relationships based on mutual respect rather than obligation. The ocean breeze carries the scent of salt and possibility as evening settles around us. For the first time in years, I feel perfectly at home in my own life.